The problem with giving in to your kids' requests or demands for a different dinner when you have spent time to make one is that it feeds picky eating and causes you over time to consistently be catering to their wishes or demands. But there is a solution. Hi, I'm Kiyah Duffey, nutrition expert, entrepreneur, speaker, and mom of 3. I help busy, health-conscious parents transform their family's relationship with food. So rather than catering to your kids' every demand when you've made something that they are not interested in eating, I am going to propose a solution, a different solution. And you've got to hear me out because the solution is this. Don't cater. Don't make another meal. Make only one. Make only one meal. Let's dig into this a little bit more. If you are practicing Ellen Satter's division of responsibility, and I highly recommend and think that you should, you will know that it is your job, it is your responsibility as the parent to decide what foods are available and when. When is it dinner? When is it snack time? And what foods are you bringing into the house and what foods are available at those times that are eating times? And it is your child's job, it is your child's responsibility to decide how much they want to eat. Now, sometimes their decision about how much is going to be none. I want none of that. I want none of that food. I want a lot of that food. That is okay. Practicing the division of responsibility does 3 really important things for your kids and your relationship with them, and frankly, for you. First, it demonstrates to your kids that you trust them. You trust them to make the decisions that are right for themselves and for their bodies. And that is a really powerful skill for them to develop as they get older. The second thing it teaches them is that they know their bodies, and you are telling them, you know your body better than I do, and it is a decision for you to make. And it tells them, number 3, that they have the ability to make these choices. And again, this is a skill that will serve them really well in the long run. The last thing it does is it demonstrates to your kids that you, who have a lot more experience than they do out in the world and knowing certain things, it demonstrates you know what kinds of foods are important for them to be exposed to, and it demonstrates to them that you know they need multiple exposures to foods before it is something that they will know and know that they like or dislike. So by being the one responsible for making decisions about what foods come into the house, you are demonstrating that to them. You are letting them choose what is right for them to go into their body, and you are demonstrating that you, as the adult, know this is what food I think is important for you to be able to try. And we are going to share that responsibility. But what this doesn't mean is that meal after meal, you need to serve foods that are unfamiliar, that they don't like, that they have never seen before, and it is just new food after new food after new food. Serving one meal, making only one meal, and not catering to your kids' wishes and demands does not mean not being considerate. There are ways that you can be considerate of your kids' needs and wants and desires while also not catering to every demand. And here are some ways that you can do that. First, and maybe the most obvious, is to make sure that every time you're giving them food, there's at least one safe food. And by safe food, I mean a food that they know, that they like, that they've seen before, that they are familiar with, and that they will willingly eat. By ensuring that there is at least one thing on the table when they sit down that they will recognize, they can feel safer to come to the table, literally and metaphorically, and try other foods because they know there is something here that I like and that will fill me up. The second thing you can do is to make sure that you offer a safe food in place of what has been prepared, just not their favorite food or the food that they request. So, an example, a colleague used to use when her kids didn't want what was prepared for dinner. They knew that cottage cheese was always an option. It was not something that they loved. It would not be their first choice for a meal, but they knew that it was an option for them and it was available anytime. And so if they didn't like everything that was on the table or they didn't like what had been prepared, they knew that there was another food they could choose from. and they knew what that food was, and they had the option of making the choice, dinner or cottage cheese. Now, cottage cheese would not fly in my family's house, but that's what worked in her house. As my kids have gotten older, we've even made the affordance or the allowance that they are able to have something else, a safe food that is a secondary option, but they have to be the ones to make it. I am not going to make a second meal. A third way to be considerate without catering to their every demand is to involve them in making decisions about what you're going to have at mealtime. Doing this gives them the possibility of informing you and informing the decisions about what's happening for dinner or breakfast or lunch, so they can be a part of that and be a part of choosing what is going on the table. And even better, if sometimes those choices can be things that you wouldn't necessarily choose for yourself, or that you, even better, don't really love, so that you can model the behavior of trying something new and of not giving them a hard time when something that is not your favorite is put on the table for dinner. Okay. Number 4, if you are interested, if you have the time, if you have the patience for doing so, involve them in meal prep. Often, especially with new things, involving kids in those early stages of picking the food, preparing the food, making the meal, there may be opportunities for them to become a little bit more interested in actually tasting it. So if you have the time and the interest, involve your kids in meal prep. All right, number 5, serve complex foods, if you can, broken down into their component parts. Tacos are a great example. Put all the fixings out on the table and let people make their own meal. If you know that your kids don't like guacamole and you want to have tacos with guacamole, serve the component parts of those tacos and let your kids pick and choose what they put on their plate. Again, this is a way of demonstrating one thing is for dinner, one meal has been made, but they do have options. And the last and final idea I have for you and how to do all of this is to find meals that allow people to customize. Tacos is another great example in this case. Our family makes a lot of grain bowls with various roasted vegetables or fresh veggies and meats, maybe if we have them, various pickles and olives and nuts all put out on the table, and you make your own dinner. Meals like this give people, again, the option of making it to suit their tastes, having foods around that are possibly new. You can talk about new flavor combinations or new foods they have tried before, maybe would like in this new way. All of these will help them become a little bit more familiar, know that they have options, and not require you to make a whole other meal. Okay, I'm sure I've missed something. I would love to hear from you. What are your ways of being considerate without catering to your kids?